Speaking to a friend of mine in China who gives me a lot of inside information. He says
Yep.
right now, he said this to me about 3 days ago.
Quick touch point on 43 scale from your
Mhm,
experience.
mhm.
43 scale doesn't seem like a very popular scale here in the States.
In
Why do you
Europe,
think that is? Like, I
I
can't
don't know.
get people to bite. I can't get people to
As an
bite on 43.
American, to answer that, as an American, it depends on where you are. I think that we as Americans see smaller things as toys, and 43rd scale cars, they aren't cheap, and the companies that used to sell them, like Eric Wader and Associates, those companies have kind of like gone away. And I'll let me go back to this. Living in Michigan, working in the auto industry, there's this awesome store called AutoZone on Woodward. It's now, I believe it's called Pesteiner's. They always have plethora of 143rd scale cars there, and they had the most beautiful displays. And while I was in college, I would go there once in a while to buy magazines and some model cars, and I just really got into it. The scale was so, how do you say, it was larger than 164 scale, but highly detailed.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
and I think at that time they were about $30 each, 20, 25, $30 each. I think that outside of places like Michigan and really auto-centric cities, people don't relate those things as collectibles. They just see them as toys, and then they see them as expensive toys. And going back to your question, and I think they don't appreciate it. Here in Europe, 143rd scale, they're very popular because of space. You have room to store these. They don't have large homes as we have back in the US, and so that's a factor. I think also around the world, internationally, you have to look at the scale of things. So 164 scale becoming premium has really shot off around the world. To a friend of mine in China who gives me a lot of inside information, he says
Yep.
right now, he said this to me about 3 days ago. Dave, 164 scale is really the hottest scale. I knew it was on fire, but he confirmed it. He says he said people here in China are buying also premium 164 scale. You see more and more of it coming. 18 scale is popular. It's almost like 164 scale is taking over and replacing 143rd. It's either 164 or 118 scale, and kind of like everything in between is kind of like
Sometimes sometimes the 43 scale can get almost as expensive as an 18 scale too, depending on what brand you go with. Brands like Makeup, Ignition. I mean, you're talking 200 plus for an 18 scale. Yeah, it comes in a nice, neat package, and it looks fire.
It depends on what you want. For instance, like Mach. This is actually the same company, pretty much, I believe, as Hobby Japan. Mark 43.
They be selling under the same thing. Yep.
And it depends. Like that was a Honda Legend Coupe, or in America we call it Acura Legend Coupe, first generation.
Oh man.
You look at, I make an exception on 43rds. I try to avoid buying them these days, but a large amount of my collection are actually 143rd. And basically, I'm really picky. I decided to limit it to only cars that I really love, cars that are very niche, that haven't been done before, and I don't have in other scales. I'll buy that in 43rd.